Good afternoon, my friends. This is the Grim Flayer. Hope you're all doing very well today, and I hope you are ready to Jund them out yet again on this channel. We are playing yet another Jund Donation League in Modern. Jund is the archetype that the donors want to the near exclusion of all else. Well, that's not true, but it is the most popular archetype, let's put it that way. And it's also the most viewed archetype in terms of the content I put out. So the people want Jund, whether they're supporters or viewers or anything in between. And I am here to bring it to them. So this is a donation league provided by a wonderful gentleman, a tireless tier supporter named Remy Marchiat. And Remy is a great guy. I've always enjoyed my conversations with him, and he also is the owner of a very beautiful foiled out Jund deck. He's got, foiled everything, but specifically working his way toward Future Sight foil Tarmogoyf. So that's right, he's got 2 down, 2 to go. And those are a thing of beauty. He's been posting them on the Discord lately. Love to see that stuff. And this is the list that he's earned a donation league, and he's brought this list to us today. So let's talk a little bit about the list, and we're going to jump right into a live recorded league for your entertainment. We have a 24-land mana base here, and a lot of it's fairly stock, but there is one significant deviation. We see 5 utility lands here. I think the second Nurturing Peatland represents a bit of a deviation from the norm, partially because it adds more pain to an already painful mana base, and partially because it caps us out at 16 red sources, whereas ideally we'd want 17 or preferably 18 to be casting these sideboarded pillages on curve. Therefore, the presence of Peatland in my list, the second Peatland would be either a 4th Blackcleave Cliffs or maybe a 9th fetch land. There's pros and cons to either. But when you are on 24 lands, you do, of course, run the risk of flooding that much more. We are already a high land count deck without card selection, so flooding's a real risk. So Remy's land base here seems to be slightly higher risk, but certainly higher reward. We will see how that plays out. Otherwise, nothing really to point out about the land base, pretty stock. The main deck is also fairly stock in most ways. Most people right now are still on 1 pulse. 2 trophy tends to be the flex removal of choice. 2 trophy, 2k command. Pretty stock numbers of everything else, with one pretty significant exception. We are on a 3-3 split of Inquisition and Thoughtseize. Now, when Remy and I were talking about the list, he said, hey man, I'm on the 3-3, but if you'd be more comfortable playing the 4-2, don't even hesitate to change that. I said, if this is what you're running, I had already offered another couple suggestions. I said, let's not change that. Let's run with what you're running with. I'm eager to see if we can leverage this third Thoughtseize without it biting us too much. Certainly, it's one of the things I really like about Rock is playing the 3-3 split. On Jund, it's just a little harder with the more pain from our mana base, but we will see how that lines up, and the sideboard is where things get really interesting. This is not exactly cutting-edge technology right now. A lot of people have been playing Boil over the last week or two. I myself, though, have never cast a Boil in my entire life. I've been interested in the tech. I've been asking people about it. I certainly think Choke is well-positioned. I'm hearing a lot of good reports about Boil, so hopefully the blue decks, if we run into them, we're going to boil them out of the game. It's going to feel really good. We've got to have matching Tempest printings for these blue hate cards. Whoever was designing Tempest had been counterspelled one too many times, you have to say. Love to see that. And Remy's sideboard is otherwise got a lot of appropriate stuff for the current meta. The Boils and Chokes are apropos. The Pillage is apropos. We've got 2 Ashiok. I like the Discipline to register 2 Huntmaster of the Fells. This is a card I really like. I've never played 2. And I've always just kind of played him either as a one-of or not at all when I'm designing my own lists. But I do like the idea of having 2 copies of this. We'll see how that works. And then we're rounding it out with some old staples, 1 Spellbomb, 2 Plague Man, 2 Collective Brutality. So there you go, guys. Remy Marchiat, everybody. Let's thank Remy for supporting this league, and let's play the league. As we are getting into a league with this Jund list, I have to thank my backlog of Patreon supporters, and I am extra grateful for you guys because other people lately have been messaging me regretfully saying, I love your content more than ever, but due to circumstances, due to what's going on in the outside world, they've got to reduce their support, or they've got to cancel it altogether, at least for now. So, you know, what can I say? I appreciate those of you who are able to support me, and we have 7 new Patreons to thank. 3 Inquisitors, Joseph Carmicino, Alan Armenta, and Bradley Edmister. We have an Unearthed tier member, Lousy Tunes, and we have a trio of Confidants, King Risey, Patrick Hoyle, and Kyle, Conduit of Snapcaster Should Have Been Red. This is... an opponent mulling makes this hand a lot more tasty of a keep. Double Inquisition against a mulling opponent is awesome. We're on the draw. If we even hit the second land, we should be really well positioned. I'm going to take a risk right out of the gates, and I'm going to keep this. Obviously, this is pretty risky, but I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the risk here. Feeling like I want to capitalize on a potential nut draw if we hit our lands. So those are our new Patreon supporters. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry. I've had a ton of turnover on Patreon lately. It's hard to keep up with the notifications. I've been trying to look back and to make notes and all the rest. Haven't necessarily been able to keep up the way I should. So if I did miss you, you're a Patreon supporter, I did not shout you out. My apologies, and please do hit me up. I'll shout you out next time. Deciding what land to get, I think because we have these Blackcleave Cliffs to draw, we should get green. I certainly need to get a black land. The draw of Bloodbraid Elf, obviously really punishing us for the 1 land keep, but let's see how far our Inquisitions can take us and all the rest. A Braid, Lightning Bolt, Remand, Silence. Okay, I think this is the combo deck, like an As Foretold, maybe Restore Balance, some kind of Jeskai, Electro Dominance deck. Pretty easy take a remand here. We just cannot afford to get tempoed out when we're already tempoing ourselves out with this keep. Whether we do or do not draw a second land this upcoming turn, remand is the biggest threat to us right now. It cantrips the opponent to some of their action cards, and it also just, blows us out. Alright, so we're punished. We're drawing high curve stuff. No second land. Pretty unlucky to miss the second land twice, but not entirely unheard of. And again, at least we have these Inquisitions. Polymorph. Okay, so it's a different combo deck. It's a Polymorph deck. I don't really care about many of these cards. Silence is technically kind of a combo card for them, but they're kind of far away from doing much with it. I wish I could just take away the Polymorph. I guess we're taking the Lightning Bolt. Like, if they have the combo, I don't think Silence protecting it is the issue. I think them just having the combo is the issue, but they're a long way away from it. They need to draw lands and to... Oh, God. Missing the land for the 3rd time in a row is horrifyingly bad. We're not off to a great start. Like I said, this was a risky keep, but we certainly statistically should not be getting punished this hard. I could accept missing it the first 2 times, but missing it the 3rd time is brutal. However, if we do hit the second land, we can then hit the 3rd and 4th land with this Wrenn and Six if it resolves. And there it is. There's the second land. Gotta go for the Wrenn here. So the reason I took Bolt is so they can't just, like, double Bolt the Goyf. But we gave them enough time to draw another Remand, so that is really bad. Real bad. Ooh, Farseek. Okay. Yeah, would have loved to have drawn 1 mana discard there. Still feeling priced into the Wrenn and Six to hit the land drop. Might as well bluff something here, but we've just got a bunch of uncastables in hand. So I think they play a land. I haven't really played against this deck, maybe once recently, but I think they play a land. Is it Dwarven Mine? Okay, they've got Teferi in this deck. That's pretty annoying. Makes their silence redundant, so I'm glad I didn't take that. But Teferi just, like, tempoing out our creatures is a little bit rough. Anyway, Also making Bloodbraid much worse. I like the draw of Inquisition, though. That is a good draw. We'll begin there. Okay, they've got a couple polymorphs in hand. I'm going to take this other Farseek, leaving them with a clunker. But speaking of clunkers, that's exactly where we're at here. So I think we're supposed to work on their hand as much as possible. Playing Liliana is more mana efficient than playing Kroxa. And even though it's symmetrical, I still think it's pretty much fine. Or, I mean, no, we need the repeated discard of Liliana. Yeah. Obviously a really good engine with Wrenn and Six, too. Get rid of Scooze here. For all I know, they could play like Snapcaster Mage or whatever, but I do not think we're supposed to worry about that. Opponent has the 4th land, and it's an Arid Mesa. Can they fetch that Dwarven Mine card? I don't exactly know how this works. Okay, let's buy this back. Alright. So if we go Liliana, Kroxa, we can totally empty hand them. But that means we have to pitch 2 of our own cards, not including this land. So we could pitch a Tarmogoyf and a Bloodbraid Elf, and then try to win by pulsing to Fairy, followed by playing Bloodbraid Elf, and also just ulting with our Planeswalkers. Okay, I think we're all in on the full disruption plan, right? Okay, down goes a Braid. Just trying to really decide if this is what makes sense. Honestly, I think it does. Obviously, Kroxa will be another way for us to end the game when the time comes. So to that end, I don't mind having pitched like the Goyf and the Scooze here. This is a challenging game right out of the gates, like in terms of how to sequence and in terms of having to navigate with our loose 1-land keep. Alright, so we are tossing away a ton of powerful resources, but again, it is all in service of the plan. Yeah, there's the Dwarven Mine. So, okay. This is why they didn't do it, because they can polymorph at instant speed. Got it. Into an Emrakul. Alright. Yeah, I wasn't exactly sure how all that worked, so we get got by Emrakul now. Just puts it onto the battlefield, so we're just dead. Okay. So I don't believe we had any way to play around this. But if I'd been more familiar with it, maybe. Okay, we'll see us later. That was a tough one. Not being able to take the polymorphs with our discard, we drew all Inquisitions and no Thoughtseizes, was the reason we lost that, plus the getting stuck on one land for too long. Yeah, seems like an interesting deck, I guess. I don't think Boils and Chokes are necessarily that effective. I mean, like, just stopping them from hitting their necessary land drops with Pillage is interesting. I'm gonna look up the card Dwarven Mine. I wonder if we should be playing Plague Engineer, naming, like, whatever. Does it make a dwarf? I don't know. Let me look that up real quick. But I do think Collective Brutality is something that we do want a piece of. You saw the Remand, Bolt the Braid, Silence, Polymorph type cards. Brutality's discard mode is very live. A 1/1 red dwarf creature token. So maybe we want Plague Engineer. I don't know that we want Ashiok. I don't know, like, what else is necessarily something to expect in the deck. So, like, you could see Ashiok, Spellbomb being okay in various ways. Probably not that into it. I think we're going to cut pushes, lean into bolts if we need to remove the polymorph target in a weird sequence before it matters. Our main deck's looking pretty good. I definitely want the Brutalities. I think they're just about the best card we have here. I think Wrenn and Six to win through the control game is pretty good. Pillage and Plague Man. Pillage and Plague Man. I don't know how correct this is, but I think I might try playing without trophies and just being a little more, like, ruthless. Giving them the land drop while also wanting to bring in Pillage seems a little bit loose. Why don't we try one copy of Plague Man? Don't know if this is correct. I'm going to cut a Scooze, and I'm going to cut one copy of Lightning Bolt. And with my siding, I may well be showing my lack of knowledge about a very fringe archetype here, but I think this is at least reasonable. We're at least ballpark. And on the draw, I might be a little less interested in these Pillages, but on the play, I think just, like, I don't know if they're a Simian Spirit Guide deck that can maybe combo off before turn 4. It didn't seem like it that way. It seemed like they were more value-oriented than that. God. Alright, I'm not keeping a one-lander on the play, but this is another one-land double discard hand. Gotta send it back. Okay, this hand is reasonable. It's a reasonable keep. So even though we did bring in the Plague Man, I'm actually going to bottom him here because, like, as the only early threat, I don't quite like it as much. But Inquisition clearing the way for Wrenn and Six, ensuring our land drops is going to be pretty nice. Never mind, they play Leyline of Sanctity. Really? That's annoying. That's super annoying. However, it's a pretty narrow range of cards that they can have that's going to stop Wrenn and Six from resolving. And tap Sacred Foundry, not going to do it. So unless they play Force of Negation, which would be alright for us in its own right, here comes the Wrenn. But, we draw another dead discard spell in the face of that Leyline. That's annoying. And we don't have our trophies in the deck anymore to even deal with the Leyline if we wanted to. So we got kind of a lot of dead cards. You know, Bolt is dead-ish. It can maybe hit a dwarf or hit a Teferi or something, but Leyline of Sanctity, rest in peace. Really, this is the deck we're against, huh? Cool. What are we supposed to do with Wrenn? We have, like, a Maelstrom Pulse isn't out to this rip. Guess we're supposed to... No, we can't even ping. Right. There is no way that on average these cards should line up this well against us. But in the context of our specific hand, they happen to. But, yeah. Yeah, not good. Not good. We are pretty soft these days to a rip, though, on Jund. Okay, they have a bolt. I think our softness to rip is actually an incentive to consider rating Abrupt Decay more highly than it has been in the recent past, because in a matchup like this, you might be happier to leave in Decay than Trophy. At least I was. Like, decaying a Teferi seems fine, trophying a Teferi against the Polymorph Combo deck seems bad. Okay, Farseek. Yeah, of course, I'm sorry, they can combo before making their natural land drops, if nothing else with the Farseek, right? Another Wrenn and Six. Could our draws really be any deader? It'd be tough. It'd be tough. They could, but it'd be tough. Alright. We're probably not escaping Kroxa, so I'm just going to get a forest. First we need to find the Kroxa, then we need to find the Pulse for the rip. Pillage. Okay, I'm going to pillage the blue land, I guess. That actually seems decent. And the opponent's life total has been pretty low. They've been shocking a fair amount, so... Oh, we found the Pulse. Now what? I guess we should Pulse Leyline. That's going to unlock our discard and our pings. We found our one of Pulse. Cool. I'm going for it. Okay, opponent F6. I'm going to Thoughtseize here, just because Inquisition could whiff. They have a backup rip and a Teferi. Gotta take the Teferi. Now we start pinging. Even though Teferi's dead in hand, obviously the rest in peace is not something we care about. Opponent found another land. Sadly, so did we. I guess they have to draw exactly Polymorph here to beat us, and they've drawn a land. Well, maybe they can find two... do they have two other Dwarven Mines to fetch, and they can make two tokens? That'd be interesting. You just draw a Lightning Bolt and win. Kolaghan's command should do it too. All right, it was ugly, but we got there. Yeah, good to know about those rips. Good to know about Leyline, frankly. I think we need to revisit our sideboarding for sure. Wrenn and Six is just a value engine, gets a lot worse in the face of that. Obviously, hitting our land drops is something, but like... So I like not playing Spellbombs and Ashioks in light of that. Trophy does become more interesting for sure to come back in the fold. I still don't really think that Boil and Choke is where we want to be. They're just like a 4-color deck. I think I'm going to play 2 Plague Engineers naming Dwarf on the draw. Because we're a little more vulnerable to getting T4'd that way without them. So we have these 4 cards that could come back in. I think I'm going to abandon the Pillage plan on the draw, although it was pretty good there. You know, we hit a Pillage at a pretty good time. And I think I like cutting 1 Wrenn and Six in the face of all that, and suiting up like this seems good. Okay, so opponent has some real nut draws that can line up really well against us, but they've also got a lot of things. They just got a lot of clunk. Their value plan is kind of weak. Like, if you're leaning it heavily into red for removal against a BGX deck, it's not going to take you all that far a lot of the time. Opponent mulling. We got a keeper. Even if they have Leyline and Rest in Peace, our Lilianas can still do a lot of work. Opponent going down to 5. You always wonder if they're aggressively mulling toward Leyline, in which case I think that's bad, or whether they are just, like, having to mulligan, which happens to anybody. So they maybe they aggressively mull to 5 for a Leyline. Sure. Kroxa does not target, just for the record. Love to see that. What are the odds they play Blood Moon as well? Well, I don't know, but the odds of them playing Blood Moon off of 1 land are rather low. And it looks like they kept a 1-lander, so with my first one, at least I'm going to fetch a Blood Crypt. Thoughtseize doesn't do much in the face of Leyline. So do we go Kroxa or Tarmogoyf here? I guess Kroxa because Goyf could still die to Bolt. And if we're going Kroxa, I think I'm going to respect Blood Moon enough to go get a basic Swamp just while I can. I don't really expect it, but that doesn't mean it's not there, right? It probably can't be there. They play a 4-color deck. I'm probably being a little bit silly. Okay, we got some diverse types in the yard. Opponent shotgun into Steam Vents. Did they have a rip? Looks like it. Well, that sucks, but it's Liliana time. Anyway. Which is pretty good for us. Hey, we got a Plague Man, too. And we got a couple pretty dead cards to pitch. Now our Goyf is dead as well as this Thoughtseize, so Liliana's about to have a field day. I think after we've taken them off of so many resources, Plague Engineer naming Dwarf's actually going to be really good. Okay, so we've got Indomitable Creativity, Rest in Peace out of there. I actually think I'm going to wait until we clear the way even more with Plague Engineer. So to that end, let's just play a Wrenn and Six just as a ping machine here. Whoops, not a ping machine yet. Yes, Plague Man starts the clock, but I think it is more important to keep running them out of resources than to do anything else. We cannot edict them, or rather, we cannot ultimate them with the Leyline. So I think at this point I'm probably ticking up to pitch my excess Liliana. Don't know how many ways there are for us to get punished for that, but I think it's fine. They had a lot of garbage in hand. They'd be very, very dead if it wasn't for this rip. We're going to crack Peatland on the end step if we have the freedom to do so. Therefore, we have to shock in, and therefore I'm just going to shock in now. Just in case it plays around some kind of permission, but you don't expect it to, right? I hope they haven't been holding a burn spell this entire time. Alright, there's the third land. Bloodbraid Elf, Lightning Bolt. Okay. Pitch the bolt. They had a creativity in hand. Alright, Bloodbraid into maybe another Maelstrom Pulse. That'd be pretty cool. Into a 0-1 Tarmogoyf. A little less cool. Nevertheless, it is a 2-turn clock, despite us having like a 2 permanents on the field that do literal nothing right now. And we are hosing the combo, and we've drawn another dead card. That's the concession. Alright, those were some ugly wins, guys, but we did get there. Yeah, I think that's a fine example of like sideboarding kind of in the dark in game 2 and then readjusting your plan for game 3 once you see a little bit more of what you do and do not care about out of the opponent's deck. If I was more familiar with the cutting-edge builds of 4-color Polymorph Combo, maybe we wouldn't have needed to recalibrate so much. Maybe we would have gotten closer to the mark to begin with. But however you get over the line is fine with me, right? So there we go. Nice start. Scraping out a win. And coming right into round 2. Okay, this hand is a little bit of a weird one. But Inquisition in the Dark is great, and despite the 5-lander being loose, we do have turn 1 Inquisition, which is great, a 2-for-1 with K-Command, potentially, and 3 pieces of utility in the land base. If this was like 5 non-utility lands, I might mull it, but I think I'm supposed to keep this one. A well-placed Inquisition can ruin a whole lot of plans and give us a lot of time to leverage our utility or just naturally draw action. The mana is super awkward, though, make no mistake. Including the fact that we have to fetch and shock here despite having 5 lands. Hopefully that won't matter, at least. Oh, great. Oh, great. It's Eldrazi Tron. They have Temple, Mine, Power Plant, Map, Reshaper, Mindstone. Chalice of the Void. What a disastrous matchup and a disastrous hand from my most hated deck in Modern. So my first instinct is simply we just have to take maps so they don't Tron. Could think about that a little bit more closely, though. Like, nah, against Jund, I don't think there's much of a chance that they go map and then take turn 2 shields down to play Chalice. Let's just take the map, but like the Reshaper and the Mindstone are super annoying cards, especially the Reshaper. Especially the turn 2 Reshaper. God, how I hate this deck. God, how I hate this deck so much. Oh, man. Hey, Liliana's a good draw, though. Liliana's just fine with me. So we'll see what they do here, whether they go Reshaper or whether they go Chalice. Kolaghan's Command, a great way to interact either way. Looks like it's the Reshaper. Another Liliana. I guess that kind of makes us want to play the first one. Obviously, like, having to kill this thing is just pretty bad. We hope they draw into, like, a high curve uncastable card, which is one of the fail rates this deck has. It plays, like, all these super clunky cards and doesn't work that hard to assemble Tron. Instead, they get a free Blast Zone, which is, again, I just get so tilted by this deck, I can't even tell you. And then they just... Oh, I'm sorry. Never mind. I got a little bit excited there. They found a Reality Smasher. Oh, no. Well, at least we have this other Liliana, right? And that's, to be fair, quite a good answer to it, but the value just never stops coming, it seems, with the E-Tron players. But we're doing what we can do. You know, these draws of Liliana have been very good. And the matchup is not that much in our control a lot of the time anyway. So, Karn the Great Creator, well, we'll see what this is and whether there's any other play. We can right now attack him off the field with Ravine. But will that be the case by the time their turn is over? I don't know. You see how Mattery Shaper is just accelerates them to such a ridiculous degree. Liquimetal Coating pass. Alright. Well, time to attack Karn off the field. They have 3 discard targets in hand, so I guess we're supposed to pitch the Peatland or a land over our Inquisition. So we're going to tick up with Liliana before we do anything else, and I think the second Peatland should go before the mountain goes. Just like 1 is sufficient. And we want to do that before they know they're losing the Karn, which is going to affect their decision-making here. Yeah, they pitch their backup Karn. Exactly. Exactly. Why we do it that way. Alright, very good. So they have 3 cards, at least in hand, that are not especially amazing. Like, Mindstone is always good, but we want to fade, like, any actual Eldrazi. Looks like they have an actual Eldrazi. Yeah, Thought-Knots here. It's not the worst, we can Edict it. We lose our K command, so Chalice is now more of a problem. Yeah, I'm gonna Edict before I do anything else with the Lily to get an extra draw and all that, but there is some incentive to, like, at least crack Peatland first, but I think this is good. I think this is good enough, like, in the face of all their possible top decks. It's probably the correct thing to do anyway. We have drawn Trophy. Okay, they have a 3rd Karn. Gotta take the Chalice here, I guess. Like, I think they're gonna blind name Chalice on 2 if I don't. So we're kind of bluffing that we're going to Trophy or something else the Karn this turn, but I think we're supposed to in light of the alternatives, right? Would have been nice to have the full freedom to attack with Ravine, but I don't feel we have it. Hopefully they just don't read us for that and they just tick up. Nah, they tick down. Pithing Needle. Yeah, okay, we let this resolve. So their hand is Coding plus 1 unknown, naming Raging Ravine, sure. Guess the thing to do here is actually to crack Peatland and then untap and see if we have another way to kill Karn that's like a lightning bolt. Yeah, Thoughtseize could be good. Forest a little less good. Ugin the Ineffable. Yeah, pretty glad we did that. Yeah, I got a trophy. I'm going to hold this forest in case they draw Thoughtseer. So it's kind of a top deck where I feel okay to have gotten to this spot, but they have the Mind Stone to cash in, and they just out-tap deck us on average, I think. Or at least their good top decks are swingier. We draw another Ravine, really? Drawing a land is bad enough, but having our Ravines needled is just ridiculous. It'd be kind of good otherwise to just be on the Ravine beat plan right now. They have Tron. They just top deck Tron. They appear to have a payoff. Why? Oh, maybe they must have Mind Stoned into whatever this payoff is, because they look like they're tapping 6. Or more. It's Ugin. Oh, wow, cool. This is what I mean, like, they could easily... Yeah. Whatever. What is this? We have one more turn, basically, to draw... and out to this goon. Yeah, I mean, when their Matter Shaper dies, they can flip a Blast Zone like they did and just accelerate rapidly to end the game in conjunction with their Soul Land. Or they could flip an Ugin and have an 8-drop in their hand and no way to cast it for a million turns. Alright, they have Chalice on 2 as well, so we need to find Maelstrom Pulse. Nope. So you understand why the deck like this tilts somebody like me? It just, there's no coherence to it. I'm not saying they're not well built, but like, in principle, the deck shouldn't work. But in practice, it's like the best deck in Modern. So, it's something that really kind of rubs me the wrong way. But any regular viewer has heard me whinge about Tron, Eldrazi Tron to be exact, for a long time. So maybe we should stop. But I know most of you agree with me. That's why I keep doing it, right? That's why I keep doing it. So I definitely like Pillage. I think that's a very good card, and one of the reasons I'm happy to have been forced to make the Pillage adaptation in the face of Veil of Summer is because it's actually pretty sweet against E-Tron. Better than Fulminator Mage, in my opinion. Beyond that, like, Plague Engineer's fine. I don't even think Huntmaster of the Fells is really worth bringing in. You could, but am I going to? Kind of doubt it, so... We'll see what comes out, though, I guess. Historically, Inquisition is on the chopping block, but maybe it doesn't need to be as much if we don't have as much to do. That said, like, I guess you can justify the presence of most of the cards in our deck. I like cutting, like, one Wrenn and Six in a matchup like this. I've cut one Scavenging Ooze before in the past, too. We're not playing Huntmaster. We got 4 cuts to make. Cutting, like, 2 Inquisition, especially on the play, is pretty free. We could leave in 1 Inquisition, 2 Bolt. What does this look like? Kolaghan's Command's a bit of a weak card in some ways, too, but I think I'm going to keep both copies in. Alright. I like it about as well as I can like any fair deck configured against Eldrazi Tron. I truly wish we had, like, a super powerful hate card. Even, Infernal Reckoning is way too narrow to play, with no other, no longer affinity in the format especially. Even Infernal Reckoning's not that good here, because they just beat you with these, Planeswalkers like Karn, the Great Creator, Ugin the Ineffable, Ugin the Spirit Dragon. It's just not, there's just no hate. There's just no powerful hate, and we've got our millionth one-lander of the league already. Once again, on the play, we can't really keep the one-landers, unless they're truly nutty, which this one is not. It's decent, but it's a mulligan. Okay, opponent keeping 7. We keep. And it's a good hand. It's a good, like, interactive hand. We're going to bottom 1 of the K commands. Really hope we draw that third land on curve. Okay, so we can take a Ballista or a Mind Stone. It's probably going to be the Mind Stone, but let's take a close look at the hand. They have Karn Scion of Urza. I haven't seen that in a while. Great Creator, Reality Smasher, 2 lands. Yep. Taking the stone. Alright, this is an extremely beatable hand if we draw the third land right now. Or, excuse me, by next turn. We have not, but we have drawn Tarmogoyf, which to be fair is pretty good. And I think we need to prioritize getting double red. So any land next turn lets us pillage any untapped land. Yeah, Goyf is pretty good. It's not as good as the third land. So if we have Goyf and the third land, I'll be very happy. Opponent has found a second Tron land. And a Dismember. So those were their 2 finds. Those are some pretty good ones. And we miss the third land. You gotta be kidding me. We mull and we miss the third land. So our chance to really punish them has gone. Now the opponent's in the game. Whereas if we were just pillaging them out of the game, maybe not quite so much. We do, to be fair, have a 5/6 Goyf. And once again we miss. Once again we freaking miss the land. We cannot afford these extreme manifestations of bad variance in this matchup. We just simply cannot afford them. Don't get me wrong, Kroxa is a good card right now, like, generically in this spot, but we simply, like, if we had the third land now, we probably couldn't lose. But now we probably can't win, because we've missed it for 3 straight draw steps in a hand that's super dependent on it. Again, at least we found action. At least we're not drawing 3 and 4 drops and just doing nothing. But I thought about casting Kroxa first because I thought they might pitch a Planeswalker, which would grow the Goyf. But the reason I didn't is because if they do it after the fact, it's still a 2-turn clock. It's not going to be a 2-turn clock anyway with Ballista around, right? And also, it would have been, it's better to force them to decide whether or not to block before they know what we're doing. That was the main reason not to do it. So they don't miss their land drops, you know. They kept the 4th land, or they kept the 2-lander, they hit all 4 on curve. And now it's Great Creator time. What's he gonna get? Once again, we just draw the third land if it's untapped. I think we're still in okay shape. Especially because I was going to say this, they probably priced into Ensnaring Bridge. But we draw a tapped one. You couldn't make it up. You couldn't make it up. Oh my god. Well, I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. But they probably have to use next turn to play the bridge, you hope. Unless they draw a 5th land, and then maybe they can put together like some liquid metal coating nonsense and keep us off the third land forever. I don't know. I cannot believe it, though. I cannot believe the Ravine is hosing us here. We're not going to 6. We got to bluff, trophy or whatever here. Anything. Kind of scare them into playing the bridge. The bridge we can beat. Some other things, maybe not so much. They have 2 unknowns in hand. Karn, a very good value piece for them, kind of no matter how it all shakes out. But if they just say, like, bridge, go. And if they take Karn down. Oh my goodness, Relic of Progenitus. But they animate it? Oh. Okay. So this has no creature type, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah. Alright. I believe this has no creature type, so we can't Plague Man it. We wouldn't want to anyway, though. We've just got to shock it and shatter the bridge. So, destroy target artifact. 2 damage to any target. Boom, boom. Seems like kind of a risky play from the opponent, but I don't know their mind, and I don't know their full hand either. So, from that pause there, I think the opponent was trying to activate Relic. My attacking card? Yeah. But they can't because they animated it, and therefore it was summoning 6, so it couldn't tap. Okay, now what is it? Just a Smasher? Quote-unquote just a Smasher? Yes, okay. This we can beat. It attacks? Why is it attacking us? What does it mean? What does it mean that the Smasher is attacking us? I don't understand. Alright, so we have drawn a Blackcleave Cliffs. That means Kroxa can be unleashed next turn. So with that in mind, we have to decide what the best line is here. There are already lands in the yard. There are already sorceries, so doing Pillage or Pulse main phase doesn't change anything. So let's begin with an attack. My instinct here is to just pillage the temple. I think I'm gonna. But it's really hard to read what their attack means, right? But that should hose their mana fairly well, you have to imagine. Thought not, Seer. Yikes. There goes our Pulse. But Plague Man naming Eldrazi puts them to a 3-3, a 4-4 and a 3-3, which is still enough for them to double block the Goyf successfully. But maybe we'll draw a kill spell here. We can always also just get Kroxa back, which is pretty good. Yeah, why don't we attack with Goyf, force the double block, and then play Kroxa? Hard to say. I think I'm killing the Thought Knot, but it is hard to say. We don't, strictly need to kill the Thought Knot because we have action. We have the Plague Man, we have the Kroxa, but still believe it to be slightly better overall. But a real judgment call. A real interesting spot, to be sure. If we draw a Bolt here, we could consider... Okay, never mind that. I was going to say we can consider pitching this fetch land to finish off the Smasher. We get an Ugin the Ineffable out of the opponent's hand, and we have a couple pieces of gas waiting in the wings. We've got the big Kroxa making the Reality Smasher into a joke. Love to see all of the above. They move to attacks, then concede. I accept. Yeah, so if I had to guess, the the line to fetch a relic and to animate it was probably more, like, made them more vulnerable than they needed to be in that spot. I don't exactly know, of course, but that is my instinct. These can be some tough games, though. They can be some skill-testing games. On the draw, I think a second Inquisition becomes more appealing. However, don't really know that there's all that much I want to cut for it. I could see cutting a Scooze, because we know they're on Relic, and because Scooze is just very mana-intensive, and not as easy to get him big in a 3-color deck to compete with the Eldrazi. So, sure, I'll cut one Scooze. Bring back an Inquisition. Otherwise, I like the way we're sided. Well enough. Eldrazi Tron, the ancient nemesis of my channel. It really is. It really is. Let's hope we can beat them. Let's hope for like a deep mull from the opponent here. Oh, that's a start. They mulled a 6. We have a slow hand, but it does go Goyf into Pillage into Bloodbraid. With a mulling opponent, I think we have to keep it. Or I think we should keep it, rather. And who knows, maybe we'll rip a discard spell right off the top. Hey, they're down to 5. They're down to 5. Five is where they shall stay. Leading on a power plant. Say and go. Well, we've got our 4th land. Got Bloodbraid all rolled up. We're about to play out a 0-1 Tarmogoyf on turn 1. If they have, like, Chalice on 1 here, that would be, like, actively good for us. Just, obviously, want to fade scarier stuff, like the big payoffs and Tron and everything. Well, we've drawn Thoughtseize. I'm pretty sure we're Thoughtseizing over Goyfing right now. Would have loved it last turn, but I will take it this turn, right? So what are you working with, OP? Just a smasher. Some important utility lands, though, to note. They have Blast Zone and Tectonic Edge. But they're about to get a Tron land pillaged. I mean, we could pillage the Blast Zone or something, but I think Tron is too scary, right? And, like, if we attack a different land, the Blast Zone itself becomes worse. Yep. Gonna put a counter on zone, maybe? Yes. Fair enough. Alright, I'd love to Bloodbraid into another Pillage. Oh no, they have a backup tower, though. We hit the wrong one, guys. We hit the wrong one. It's just kind of a wild guess at that point. Alright, Bloodbraid. You gotta give us another Pillage now. We got it. Hit the second tower. Oh my goodness, that's amazing. That is just amazing. Thank you. And then they'll dismember the Bloodbraid Elf. That's good for us too, to be honest. Because we got another one where that came from. Oh, this is amazing. Now they can tech edge our Ravine now if they want. Or they found Karn. Scary, but I know who answers them pretty well, and she's right here waiting to do so. You do love to see it. He might tick up, though. Yeah, the tick up is a fair play. So should we more main phase? Should we? Yeah, we should cycle the more first, right? Alright, Bloodbraid, work your magic. Into Bloodbraid into Kroxa seems pretty decent. Seems pretty decent. Just gonna attack the Karn. Karn down to 1, and what's he gonna find? Could just be a bridge. Yep, it is a bridge. An opponent found Eldrazi Temple for turn. Okay. Well, we are flooded, but at least we're finding some good utility lands. I believe the first thing to do is just simply crack a Peatland, and then we can still black, black, red, red, get the Kroxa back. If we have nothing better to do. Okay, we found another Kroxa. I think we're supposed to escape this one. Is that true? Yeah, I think it actually is true. But it's a little bit of a tough call. Finding an out to bridge is obviously the first priority here. We've got a fair amount of them in the deck. Opponent with a Radiant Fountain. Well, I guess that's kind of spicy. Fatal Push, a bad draw. A bad, bad draw. Yeah, let's find a shatter effect of some kind off this Peatland. Ooh, more pushes. Yikes. Well, we can't really play more out into the blast zone, I don't think. Just getting stuck behind the bridge is very annoying. Okay, opponent cracking the Mind Stone, so you could, in theory, maybe sort of see a way where they start getting cards stuck in hand, but not really. Not with 5 lands at their disposal. Okay, they found another tower. They take the Karn up. Come on, top of the deck, we need you. We need a Kolaghan's Command or a third Pillage. Just a land, just a land. Not gonna cut it, is it? Gonna run out the fetch land, though, in case they play Thought-Knots here. We want to be able to push it. Okay, there's the Expedition map. Now they're gonna have Tron. Do they have a payoff in hand that matters? Well, they're going to go get one if they don't. Wormcoil Engine. Uh-huh. Such a fun card to play against, am I right? The flood at this stage of the game. We've been through 3, like all 3 of our lands that, all 3 of our lands that draw cards. Opponent with another Blast Zone? That's actually pretty scary, too. Dude. We're just drawing so dead. Just drawing so dead. This is unreal. Okay, sure. Destroy our ravine. Okay, cashing in the Karn. Liquimetal Coating. Do they have another Karn? Yeah, obviously. Obviously. Now they get to Stone Rain us out of the game. Unless we find an answer right now. Guys. Guys. I guess we play one of these Goyfs out, but, like, I got no words for this. I was going to fetch to thin out on the end step. Maybe I should have, but I am just getting too distracted by the the egregiousness of Eldrazi Tron. Let's make sure we have something to fetch for. Yeah, we do, even if... Yeah, we have... Okay. They're taking care of our forest. They're going after the green mana. Okay. At this point, I don't know if it matters, but we're thinning out the deck. Liliana of the Veil. I mean, that does something. It punishes them for playing this prison game. Question is, are we supposed to take up and go for the ult? I think probably yes. I mean, I'm sure Karn can just go get Pithing Needle, but I guess we should probably make him do that rather than continually Stone Raining everything. Until the end of time. They're just going to use a Blast Zone for Lilia. Okay, I guess, like, that's going to happen no matter what. Found a Smasher. Yeah. Alright, well, if they let us go now, I suppose we start edicting. Come on, another Goyf. Where are our outs to any of this stuff? Where's our... We have many outs to Karn, we have many outs to Bridge. We can't find them, though. So we keep playing, we keep getting Stone Rained out of the game in like... the most tilting loss condition imaginable against the most tilting deck imaginable. You guys, I'm not hiding my feelings anymore. Can't hide the feelings anymore. This is how we feel about Etron. I'm tempted to scoop just for the sake of the content. I was tempted to do that long ago, in fact. Interesting that they put a Blast Zone up to 4. Okay. Oh, Ugin the Spirit Dragon. Okay. Yeah. But, like I said, I didn't scoop because there was still, for a long, long time we had a chance to draw it out. That is a deck that is basically emblematic of everything unhealthy and modern, if you ask me. I truly, can't get over how often I'm drawn against it, especially on camera when I'm playing leagues. Feel like if I could just get a league without Eldrazi Tron, my day would be so good. We did see that we can rumble with the deck. Like if we had simply drawn one of our other Kolaghan's commands, or pulses, or trophies, or pillages, that game, for the bridge, we would have pretty clearly won before they were able to Stone Rain us a million times, take up a bunch, get the Worm Coil, get the coating, all that stuff. It's beatable, but they just can blunder into so many insurmountable advantages against a fair deck that you often just don't beat them. Like, you often come away from games with Tron thinking, like, yeah, that was beatable, but I kind of got wrecked. Anyway, moving on to round 3. We've got a medium hand that would be way better on the play. But I'm going to keep it. It's functional. It's a blind. The opponent's mulling. Sure. We say keep. They go to 5. Well, a lot of decks can still beat you, especially if they're ones that aggressively mulligan on the play. Like, if they're a Dredge, we at least have a Scooze. If they're Tron, we have Kroxa into Lily. Are they like a Devoted combo deck? Are they Birds of Paradise? Yeah, it looks like Devoted combo. I was just going to say, that's one of the things that we don't really have direct interaction for, but never mind. We drew the Bolt. Bolt your bird. What a draw. What a draw. This is the type of matchup we like to play. It's interactive and your interaction matters, and they don't have free soul lands. This might be Yawgmoth if they're having Tomb into Twilight Mire as their opening 2 lands. And in that case, that's another selling point for Scooze. Yeah, it sure is. Young Wolf. All right. Well, despite the presence of Kroxa, our life total matters and our green mana really matters, so I'm going to get Basic Forest. And we're going to go on the Scoozy plan here. So controlling the board is really important, but it might actually be nice to go Kroxa into, a Scooze activation next turn, especially with the opponent time-locking themselves, cracking that Peatland. Yeah, okay. The only thing awkward about this is our mana. I think getting the green online is too important. We are going to Fetch Shock. Yeah. And so next turn we're going to play Swamp, so why don't we get Stomping Ground right now? Could also just jam Goyf, but I think I'm going to play Kroxa here. I just like attacking their resources in general right now. I should have left up the Stomping Ground to bluff Lightning Bolt, I guess. For damage, we eat the bird. Maintaining a life total that's higher than the opponent's is a good way to win. A lot of their combos cannot successfully combo off if your life total is significantly higher than theirs. Drew another Goyf. All right. Well, we've got the closers lined up, but once again, I think I'm just committing to controlling the board here. The only reason not to control the board is they could go Yawgmoth, but Yawgmoth is what, 2/4 protection from humans? And won't have anybody to sacrifice, so yeah, let's just Edict. Edict and eat with the Undying trigger on the stack. Paying costs. Okay, I did not expect them to have anything at all here. I don't know what this is. I don't know if we're about to get blown out by something. Are they just Court of Calling for something to sacrifice? Okay, fair enough. Well, that definitely makes Edicting a little bit worse. Like, there is a argument for just having jammed the 2 Goyfs if we knew they were going to have a second body here, but at the same time, whatever. They sack the Young Wolf anyway. Aha, so this means they do have a Yawgmoth in hand. Fair enough. So we eat the Young Wolf with Undying on the stack. And we smack him with a 4/4 Scooze. They cannot afford to block. We pull further ahead. And they can also not afford to probably attack the Lily off the field with the Hierarch, unless they naturally draw an untapped land. Because they're going to get their Yawgmoth down. Okay, yeah, pro-humans pay 1 life, sack another creature to give a -1/-1 to one target creature and draw a card. Then they can discard to proliferate. But opponent doesn't take any action here. Okay, Inquisition, I guess, is just a free pick. A backup Yawgmoth hits the bin. So they can only put 1 counter on here. We can grow beyond it. So let's attack. Alright, I don't know if it's better to play both Goyfs or to hold up 1 Goyf. Or to hold up 1 activation, rather. I think it's better to play both Goyfs. Like, if we had 3 green where we could play a Goyf and hold up 2, I would do it. I don't know, though. I don't know. So I'm just going to play both Goyfs. Like, what punishes us if they draw an Undying creature? Maybe, but I still don't think they can combo off. They probably need to draw exactly... Like, is it 2 Geralf's Messengers that's the loop that they can infinitely kill you no matter what the life totals are? I don't exactly know. I know the broad strokes of this deck. Let's see what they found. Okay, they shrink the Ooze, they cash in the Hierarch, they found a bird. Okay. They are dead. On board. Yep. There's the concession. Alright, well. The opponent did mull pretty deep there. We had a pretty good progression, all things considered. I don't know. I haven't played this deck in forever. Why don't I look up a list real quick, just to see if there's any spice out of the side that I should be worried about. But the broad strokes I think are pretty clear. Spellbomb seems good. Ashiok seems slow but decent. Huntmaster seems slow but decent value-wise. Plague Engineer is probably something we want. We could see leveraging Brutality as well pretty easily. But I'm going to need to look at a list real quick to get a more coherent plan. I dodged this deck a lot when it was new, and it's no longer new, and it's not as popular as it was when it got the hype, right? Once Upon a Time, well, that's an outdated list, Once Upon a Time, but it's the most recent one on Goldfish. They have Court of Calling Eldritch Evolution, so that's more points in favor of Ashiok. Veil of Summer out of the side, yeah, unsurprising. Could play some value like Finks, Obstinate Baloth, things to worry about, right? Just give us more and more to worry about. Well, I think I'm going to cut a couple Inquisitions. Your mileage may vary for sure with a matchup like this. I'm going to start by trimming away the stuff that does not cleanly answer the combo, though. I'd rather control the pieces around it that stay dead and try to answer the Yawgmoth himself directly. So they've got a variety of types. I don't know actually how necessary Plague Engineer is. I might kind of leave the Plague Men out until we see more. I know I want Spellbomb. I know I want at least 1 Ashiok. I think like 1 Huntmaster is pretty good here. It is a value game. And I'm kind of high on the Brutalities, not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. I'm going to cut a second Lily on the draw. Don't know how correct that is, but seems like a fine place to be. And Wrenn and Six is really good. Should we cut a Bloodbraid and kind of have replaced her with a Huntmaster? I don't know. Don't know. I think I'm going to cut a Kroxa instead. I think this is reasonable sideboarding, but I am not, like, confident that it's optimized. But I am confident that it's reasonable. Yeah, not sure exactly how strong Plague Man is. Either way, he will be weaker on the draw for sure. Yeah, I don't see any reason to mulligan this. It doesn't have a threat that comes down early. But it has a push, it has a Spellbomb, it has a Pulse. We're killing a lot of things. And now it has the 4th land for that Bloodbraid Elf. It's possible that I was supposed to actually fetch and shock for a Blood Crypt in case I drew Lightning Bolt this turn. Didn't think of that. That would have let me get the Ravine down while interacting with the board. Well, Lightning Bolt doesn't do it against Wall of Roots, so... Ooh, wow. Wall of Roots into birds. We have drawn Liliana. Okay, so... Yeah, I just gotta run out the Spellbomb here, pretty sure. Hope they can't combo us this turn. They are going to be able to cast a Yawgmoth if they have it. Another Wall of Roots. Hey, we can pulse those. That's actually looking pretty decent right now. Play a 3rd Wall of Roots. That's the idea. Play the 3rd one. Play the 3rd one. How cool would that be? Abrupt Decay. Well, this is going to be very value positive for us, but... I think they should have at least waited to see if we were going to fetch on the end step, though, right? Alright. Let's hope they don't have Veil of Summer. We're jamming the Pulse here. We got him. Nice 2-for-1. Okay. So either Liliana or Bloodbraid seems good next turn. It's going to depend on what they do here. Nice little use case for Nihil Spellbomb there. Feels good to kind of price them into what they felt was a necessary Abrupt Decay anyway, and have it go nicely in our favor in a couple different ways, helping us curve out and just being a 2-for-1. OP with a 3-drop of some kind, Eldritch Evolution. So they send their Monodork to the bin, and what are they getting instead? Hopefully something we can cleanly edict, but you've got to imagine it's some kind of value piece in this spot, whether it be like maybe an Eternal Witness or a Kitchen Finks. These are just ideas, I don't know the deck that well. Yeah, it is Kitchen Finks, okay. Maybe I do know the deck that well. So we're not probably going to edict the Finks, I think we just should Bloodbraid here. Yeah. Into a Wrenn and Six. I think we're supposed to attack. If they take the trade, we're supposed to ping. They don't. So let's buy back a land and stay out of Fink's beat range. So that wasn't a great find, but it's fine. I was just going to say it can ping Monodorks. Ooh, but Noble Hierarch makes them... Yeah, that's a little bit rough. But this is still helping us win the race, right? Now we found a Scooze. That's a good find, too. So, Let's attack. We're going to fetch up a basic forest here, so we have one Scooze activation at our disposal. When we go play a Scooze, play a 6/7 Goyf, and be in a really good spot from here as far as I can tell. Especially because we get to untap and play a Liliana, so we have at least one kill waiting in the wings. We have pulled ahead on life total, and our board is much more impressive. MTGO misbehaving. I don't know how long it's been like this. I think it's just started in this match, but maybe it's under a lot of strain with more people playing online lately with these blacked out images on the opposing side of the field. It kind of takes away from the mystique of the game, doesn't it? But what can you do? What can you do? Well, we can win the match. That's the concession. That Maelstrom Pulse on Wall of Roots, that was a feel-good moment. It's not that often you get an actual 2-for-1. Pulse is mostly like it's good because it's flexible, right? It's good because it's really flexible. There is no downside either. Unlike Trophy, it's just slow and clunky. It's why we only play 1. However, it does have that 2-for-1 or even X-for-1 potential. And usually it's like either a 1-for-1 or it's a 1,000,000-for-1 if you're like killing 1,000,000 tokens with it after an Empty the Warrens. But you don't often get like a good old-fashioned 2-for-1 tempoing them out, you know, because they were 2 drops that they cast as well. That felt good. You love to see Pulse really earning its keep there. And yeah, that was a nice comfy win against Yawgmoth. Their progressions were not great, but you can see how we can handle that deck pretty well. We have a lot of good interaction, right? You have a lot of good interaction. It's a great matchup for Scavenging Ooze if you can find the right spot for it. And we are on the play here for round 4. Hope you're enjoying this one, my friend Remy, and I hope the rest of you are enjoying this league as well. Yeah, looks like a fine hand to me. Opponents are taking a fair share of mulligans, too. I actually think I kind of want to play Bloodstained Mire over Raging Ravine. Just in case we want to Fatal Push something on turn 1. That might just be wrong, but I'm thinking of something like a Goblin Guide that we can neither ping nor afford necessarily to take the damage from. But, I mean, it's probably just better to get the Ravine down. But I was thinking about playing the Mire there. Snow-covered forest. Into a Sakura Tribe Scout. Well, that is something we can ping with Wrenn. And I guess we're supposed to. We definitely want to get black here so we can double spell with Fatal Push and Thoughtseize next turn if necessary. Always feels good to ping there, but admittedly against the big mana decks, it's not as effective as it would be against like a fair deck that's trying to beat you with X1s. In which case, like, Wrenn on the play is just a blowout, because you 2-for-1 them by pinging their turn 1 play, and then you continue accruing advantage when you untap and tick up. And also maybe keep more X1 stranded in hand until they can find a way to grow them or to beat the Wrenn otherwise. So here it's still good, but it's not that much of a blowout because, you know, Fatal Push is not that live anyway. We could have easily just pushed it and then on turn 1 had I run out the fetch land and then started taking up the Wrenn. But this is still good. Still very good, in fact. And if they play Dryad of the Elysian Grove, maybe we'll be happy we're, you know, we've slow-rolled the push a bit. I don't know how realistic of a win condition the Wrenn and Six Ultimate is anyway, so might as well take our value where the value's there to be had. Okay, OP with a Talaria West, but they play Breeding Pool. Do they have an Amulet? No, they have another Stirrings. Oof. Oof. OP really sculpting the hand here. We're going to get to Thoughtseize it, though. Unless we draw Liliana, in which case we probably just play her. But we have a lot of, like, I would love to draw a good 2-drop here, like Goyf or Kroxa, to accompany the Thoughtseize. Would be really nice. Okay, so opponent finding their lands. Sure. Finding the lands and then waiting in the main phase for something. Hey guys, you know, whenever this happens, feel free to skip ahead, feel free to put it on 2x speed. I won't be offended, I promise. Oh, another Wrenn is not the draw we wanted to see. We wanted a 2-drop, but not that one, right? I'm going to run out that land because it conceals information better, and also, once again, we could be interested in pushing a Dryad. Although I suppose technically it would have been better to Thoughtseize and then decide what land to play, right? Okay, they have Summoner's Pact, and that's it. But they got a lot of powerful lands, and they do have Talaria West to get another Pact at some point. It's only now that we have so much downtime that I'm realizing how dry my mouth is and how stuffy my nose is, so sorry for any extraneous noises, my friends. I am a little bit sick, but it is not, you know what. It's not the virus, okay? I don't have those symptoms, I just have like a stuffy nose. Don't worry, don't worry. Alright, OP. We're on camera here, my friend. You gotta play a land. You gotta make a decision. You know? I don't know what... I don't think we can read anything necessarily into them tanking because they have just tanked for no reason multiple times already when they don't have anything to do. But if we were reading them for something, I don't know what it would be. Like... they could play Crumbling Vestige and then Transmute if they wanted to. Maybe they're deciding between that and playing like a Dryad they just top-decked. I don't know. I'm just trying to fill up time. Hey, while we're filling up time, please do remember, my friends, that Brian Palmer, an awesome Jund player, an awesome all-around guy, is the channel's first ever official sponsor, so we thank him for that. And you can get 10% off his awesome work, which includes commissions. It includes commissions, remember that, but it is also really nice playmats and tokens. Using the code GrimFlayerMTG, that is in the description below. If you're interested, please do check that out. So, opponents played a bounce land, and then it's back over to us, and it's Bloodbraid time. We're just continuing to draw bricks, so we gotta hope the opponent does the same thing, right? Bloodbraid into another Wrenn? Dude. I guess we should cast this one. But drawing all 3 Wrenns this early on is just horrifyingly bad. Alright, so if we start pinging a bunch, that technically advances our clock. Let's assume neither player does anything else. So we're going to hit for 3 this turn, they're at 15. We're going to hit for 7 next turn, they're at 8. So if the ravines are connecting, then the Wrenn and Six ping does not actually change anything. But we cannot assume the ravines will connect. Maybe we should ping anyway. I don't know. It's a judgment call. I'm going to start pinging. Shouldn't be what decides the game or not. But we'll see. I wanted to cast that Wrenn just to put something else in the graveyard. A new type for Goyf and a card for Kroxa, which remain 2 of our better draws, but they would have been better on turn 3 than on turn 5, to say the least, right? Looks like maybe a Dryad. No, it's a Transmute. Alright. Will they pact for a Dryad? Or will they save it for a Titan? I don't know. So let's draw a discard spell and find out, but we didn't. Not really doing the math, I'm just going to ping again. Playing the Goyf, again, the Goyf is an okay draw. We're presenting lethal now. Would have been better earlier, as mentioned. Maybe now the Goyf prices them into pacting for a Dryad and we get to Fatal Push it? I don't know. We'll just see. Talaria West is gone. Growth Chamber's on the field. They have a Forest in hand, plus 3 unknown, if I'm not mistaken. Well, guys, we haven't run into any true blue decks, so I guess now is our time to bring in Chokes and Boils out of the side. Actually, you know what? I think just Boil. I'm not as high. That's the concession. All right. Yeah, cool. I'll take it. Yeah, we drew some bricks, we flooded, and we hit all 3 Wrens, but, that one Thoughtseize was pretty good, for sure. And Bloodbraid Elf, just putting an okay clock together in conjunction with Goyf and Ravine. And the pings, right? Good enough. We're happy with good enough. So, against a Primeval Titan deck like this one, Ashioks and Pillages are top class. Like I was just about to say, I don't believe so much in Choke against the Dryad of the Elysian Grove with a deck like ours, because, you have to attack into the Dryad or remove it to attack anyway. So, Choke just kind of takes the game long, and that's just how I see it. I think we have enough to do anyway. Maybe if we didn't have the Boils, we could play a Choke. I think this is fine. What did we see there? We saw the Tribe Scout, so we're going to want some answers to that. Brutality seems a little bad in most ways, but it can take the Scout, it can take the Pact, it can take away random stuff like Explore. But 7 cards is plenty. We're probably just siding in these. I'm pretty interested in cutting 1 Rising, possibly to 2 Wrenn and Six. I think cutting 1 Scooze is going to be pretty fine. I think we can cut Pushes and leave Bolts in, even though the former kills Dryad and the latter doesn't. Still think that's pretty fine. Yeah, we're already kind of lacking slots here. So I guess we're definitely going down to 2 Wrenn, and then what? I think I'm going to play more of a disruption game, so I'm going to actually cut the second Scooze as well, even though I like leveraging 1. And then, with our curve so high, I think I'm going to cut 1 Bloodbraid Elf. We'll see how this goes. I've never played with Boil at all before, especially not against a non-blue deck like this one, where it's just kind of a gotcha card for the Dryad progression, so yeah, I don't know how correct this is, but I think in context of the Boils, I think the other things make sense, and we'll see how it goes. Alright, while our hand is slow, it would be a pretty sweet one on the play. Their mulling, I'm keeping. You know, this has worked out well enough for us so far. You keep like a slow but powerful or a slow but functional hand against a mulling opponent. We have a sideboard card in the form of Pillage, and we have one of our best main deck cards in the form of Lily. So I like it. It does not interact with their very fastest nut draws, but they're not aggressively mulling for their very fastest nut draws. They're trying to keep most functional hands, especially having already taken one mulligan. Alright, there's a scout. Let's draw a bolt. We draw a Goyf. Darn. So they get to accelerate. What are you going to do? Yeah, we do have all 4 bolts in. Just wanted to double check that. Couldn't remember if I'd hedged away from one or not. And that's actually a big problem, because this guy, if they play conservatively, you know, and cagily with the scout, they will be able to kind of blow out our pillage, or compete over it anyway. Assassin's Trophy. Alright, alright. Another thing that's a little awkward in the face of this scout, so we're just going to jam the Goyf. And maybe we just need to ignore the land destruction plan and go after the hand with Liliana. We'll see what they do. Opponent does have a bounce land, so they're kind of putting together what they need to outrace us. So assuming they have a payoff, and assuming they can either accelerate into the payoff right now, or they can continue affording to play cagily, we might not have it. We might not have them, despite having a reasonable keep and a reasonable amount of powerful cards. The unanswered Tribe Scout could be our downfall. We shall see. Alright, they're just saying go, huh? Kroxa. Interesting. So, are we going to give them credit for having another bounce land? Because that's how they blow us our pillage out with a Tribe Scout. Do we think they have another bounce land? I don't know. It's a real judgment call. I think being behind in a couple ways, there's a lot of merit to just jamming a pillage and making them have it. There's a lot of merit to that. But we get severely blown out if they do have it. If our Goyf was naturally bigger, just like attacking and like playing Ravine and holding up Trophy would be pretty good, because in response to whatever shenanigans they have, we can Trophy the Chamber. I don't know. This is going to be basically a wild guess. I don't think there's a clear right or wrong decision. This is a real linchpin moment, though, of the game. And I'm kind of leaning towards just jamming the pillage and hoping they don't have a second bounce land. But I have real reservations about that. I'm going to attack with the Goyf. Again, if this was bigger, it might be likelier to prompt action. Okay. I am reading the opponent for another something. So we're going to play Peatland and say go. And we're going to Trophy the Growth Chamber at the safest opportunity. And maybe they just do nothing and untap. Alright, no, they are activating. They did have another one. Alright, so we let that resolve. And then I guess we got to Trophy one of them. So we took the right line. Still might not be enough because they do have an unanswered Tribe Scout yet again with 2 bounce lands, but let's trophy one of them. And I played Peatland there because we want to cycle Barren Moor, and also because making double black is kind of important here for a potential good turn next turn. But, you know, their double bounce land progression with the Scout is going to be tough to beat no matter how you slice it. But we did set them back by 1 mana. We'll see if it's enough to do much. See if it's enough to matter. Tapping 4 mana. Then undoing. Alright, interesting. What does that mean? Yeah, we do have a lot of powerful cards in our hand. And our Goyf is going to be more and more of a problem. I really don't know what to be reading the opponent for exactly right now, though. Like, do we think they have a Dryad? Do we think they were, like, gonna hard cast an Obstinate Baloth there? I really don't know. There's, like, more variety now in these Titan decks, now that Once Upon a Time has been banned, than I'm used to. Looks like they're just passing through the turn here. Okay, we cycle the Moor, and we see a land. Alright, discard spell would be decent. A Goyf, come on, a Goyf. Alright, I don't think we're going to give them credit for having a 3rd bounce land. So I think I'm going to pillage this turn. The big question is, do we do it before or after? I mean, if I'm going to do it, I might as well just do it before, right? Okay. We no longer can afford to play around them having it. We've done successfully, so let's make them have it again. Don't have another bounce land. They do. Unreal. Unreal. The triple bounce land Tribe Scout progression. Yep. So, if we were going to get blown out, the reason to do it this way is just because we're going to attack with a bigger Goyf, who's definitely getting through because they're tapping down. Nevertheless, that was a disaster. If they have a payoff, we're just dead. Yeah, I mean, I believe it is correct to side out Fatal Pushes because they have so many other progressions that go over the top of that and just kill us. But certainly the Tribe Scouts is what's winning them the game right now. Looks like they have the payoff too. Uh-huh. Yep. Well, I don't regret our lines. I think it was correct to play around it the first time, and we did so successfully, and we were rewarded for it, and I do not think it was correct to play around it a second time. Because we're at the point where, like, we just have to destroy lands. They could just, like, pass with their Tribe Scout and just make natural land drops and still do this. So, we had to go for it. They had too many cards in hand for, like a lone Liliana or Kroxa to do something. And if our Pillage had worked, we would be setting up for this turn going Liliana and Kroxa and really working on the hand. I probably should just scoop here, but I'm going to at least take my draw step. Okay, another land. Let's crack looking for a kill spell for Titan. Nope. Brickin'. Okay. Not very fun, but that's big mana for you. That's Primeval Titan for you. It's going to be better for us on the play. And yeah, I don't regret our lines. As always, guys, you can let me know. It's hard for me to see sometimes with perfect clarity what's going on when I am in the moment and live commentating. However, like I said, I don't really regret what went on there. I think it's all good. I don't think we're going to change anything. I'm seeing nothing in the sideboard that really jumps out to me as a must-have. You can always leverage one Scooze, but is it really better than a lot of the stuff we're working with here? I don't think so. I think we're committing, again, to the disruption plan more than the aggro plan, so I'm with it. Submit deck, let's beat him. Let's beat him on the play in Game 3. We can do it. Thoughtseize into Goyf is the perfect 1-2 punch, and then the hand does nothing from there. I'm gonna keep it though. These are the ideal turn 1, turn 2 plays. A lot of their hands are gonna be mulligans. A lot of their mulligan and non-mulligan hands are gonna have a real hole punched through with this 1-2 punch, and then yeah, we are a good deck that top decks really well post side. We've got a million hate cards to draw to. We can do it. We have at least one utility land with Ravine. I'm optimistic, but I'd really love to have like a Pillage or a Lily or an Ashiok here at the top end. They have Stirrings, Azusa, Summoner's Pact. And they have 4 lands, including a bounce land. I don't really know. I think I'm taking Azusa here. But that is a nice, well-balanced hand, and you can make an argument for some other things there too. So, Forest into Stirrings. They found Amulet of Vigor. We found Trophy. Could be okay. I'm pretty happy with any spell at the moment, frankly. So, let's fetch to grow the Goyf here, and let's play out the Goyf. Amulet into Breeding Pool. Wisely keeping the bounce land back. We draw another Goyf, huh? That's got to be the play. It's vulnerable to EE. It's vulnerable maybe to them. It is vulnerable to them top decking an Azusa. Or maybe even a Dryad, but there's no way we can play scared. We have to clock. But yeah, obviously, we need more help off the top of our deck than just one Assassin's Trophy. Gotta hit a Pillage. Or an Ashiok ASAP. Uh-oh, they're playing out Cavern? So they can obviously pact for Azusa. So one danger is that they just drew the Titan. Oh, alright, they're just playing it safe, but we can't punish them for, we can't punish them for this because we just can't draw anything. Can't draw anything. The flood after keeping the Highland hand is always the worst. Goyf were just a little bit larger, I'd feel so much more comfortable here. But after we resolve a trophy, they will be. So I guess if we trophy a land here, then untap and kill him with a Ravine. Tribe Scout. Okay, we could also trophy the Tribe Scout and just win, right? Assuming they don't have a kill spell. If they do have a kill spell, trophying the Tribe Scout is very bad. But we get instant in the yard, we put our Goyfs to a 4-5, and Ravine is lethal. Are they going to Pact? Golgari Rot Farm. So they're going to have 4 mana at their disposal if we don't do anything here. I think we just let him go for it. I don't know in what way we can really get punished for this. I think we just have to try to present lethal. Like, they could maybe pact for a Baloth and gain the life. Alright, we gotta hope they don't have interaction. Whether it be Veil of Summer or a removal spell for one of our threats. Okay, Goyfs are 4-5, we've got lethal. Did they have it? Moment of truth. Paying costs. Dang, paying costs. What is it? Beast Within. Oh, that's so brutal. They have a Beast Within. No. Now they packed for the Titan, and now we probably lose. We could, like, top deck Lightning Bolt. We could top deck some stuff. Or, wait a minute. Looked like they were skipping past their turn. Did they find something that makes them not need to pact here? What is this? I am confused, as you can tell. I don't know if, okay. Just playing a Titan in a really awkward way. Yep. Yeah, I mean, we get literal any piece of action in between the first draw step and now we'd be looking at lethal. As it is, we gotta pray for a pretty good top deck here. I don't know if they get Radiant Fountain. They only have 4 different lands, so like Field of the Dead, is that even live? Let's just see what they do. I was so wrapped, yeah, okay, Field of the Dead. Unfortunately is live. Boil. What a tilt we draw Boil. It's so bad. It's so bad. It's so bad right now. Of all the hate cards to draw, we draw Boil. For a moment. For a moment. I mean, we've basically drawn nothing but bricks. Like, the trophy was pretty bad. Like... Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't notice forest and snow-covered forest because it's blacked out. That's how they did that. Like, even the trophy was terrible there because we ended up needing to use it on the Tribe Scout to try to go for lethal. How bad can you get? I mean, we can't really afford to attack, so we're just gonna try to stay alive to draw Lightning Bolt, I guess, but they should get Radiant Fountain. And hey, maybe they'll find and play a Dryad, and then we get to Boil him. Wouldn't that be sweet? Alright, I cannot believe this is what's going on right now. Beast Within, keeping them in the game here. Yeah. Boiling 1 breeding pool, not worth it. Alright. Just main phase a Dryad. Just main phase a Dryad. You know you want to. Uh-huh. Looking like a Talaria West. For a Dryad? For a Dryad. It's gotta be for the Dryad, right? They've only got 3 lands. Okay, here comes the Pact. It's the Dryad! It's the Dryad! Guys, it's the Dryad! Thank you. Thank you very, very much for that. Forest, swamp, island, mountain, plains. Operative term being island. Is it better to boil before they attack so they don't get more zombies? Nah, because they're just going to lose to their Summoner's Pact. Well, I think they should just lose to the Pact either way, right? But it's probably better practice to let them get their lands first. I don't know. I hope this doesn't change anything, but I think we're supposed to let them get the lands first. I'm weirdly, feeling unsure and nervous right now because I've never cast Boil before, and I am trying to think of what could matter either way, but I'm pretty certain they're just going to die on their upkeep to the Pact. They're going for lethal now, so now we Boil. As soon as we receive priority. Opponent taking the sweet time, increasing the suspense here to order the triggers on the stack, but what should happen, if I'm understanding everything correctly, is that Valakut will check. With each triggered ability, it should check to see if the condition, if the intervening if clause is fulfilled. I'm also having trouble thinking clearly because I really have to go to the bathroom. I was going to try to get through this league without doing so, but after this one, we're going to have to visit the restroom here. Okay, OP. Putting them on the stack here. I think we should destroy all islands. What about you? Let's minimize the stack here so we can see the full glory of what happens. Intervening if clauses are not fulfilled. All the triggers go to waste. Hey, it even says that in the text box. Does not resolve because the intervening if condition is not met. I'm going to double block just to send a message to the Titan. You get out of here. You get boiled if you come over here. Oh, man. I complained about drawing the boil, but then we said, hey, what if the opponent decides to pact for a Dryad? And that's literally what happened. Guys, that was amazing. I have to run to the bathroom. I'll be back for round 5 real quick. Okay, we're back. Oh, we're back. What a feel-good way to steal that match. We've cashed the league. We are 3-1, falling only to the Eldrazi Nemesis in a pretty unlucky fashion. So, Remy, my friend, the league has already been a success. Number 1, cashing the league is great. Number 2, winning with that boil is awesome. Full disclosure is that Remy's initial list, I believe, only had 1 choke and no boils. And that's after we talked, we agreed it was a good list. It had a couple different cards, obviously, in the side. Then I went back to our messages yesterday, so I could pull up the list and actually look at it again to load it on here and get ready for the league. And I saw that he'd updated it, and I messaged him and said, hey, I see that you changed your list a bit. I'm sure it was just kind of for his own purposes, but anyway, I said, hey, I saw you got some boils in there. What if we played them? And he's like, yeah, that sounds good. So glad we did, man. So a success already with the cashed league and a success with that absolute blowout boil. Let's try to get that 4-1. We are on the play here in round 5. And how many one-landers can we draw in a 24-land deck? I kept the one on the draw, but I've been disciplined enough to send back all the ones on the play. And this one will be no exception. We mulled a 6. Oh my goodness. We're keeping with the most awkward land configuration known to humankind. I guess we're bottoming a Bloodbraid Elf, and I don't even know what land to lead on. I guess it should be Ravine. But you could really make an argument for just playing Barren Moor, because Inquisition is more all-around live than Lightning Bolt, but we just hope they play out something into our Bolt to give us a chance here of making something out of our early turns. Search for Tomorrow. Another big mana deck? Come on! Alright, well, we're gonna boil these guys, too. Okay. Scooz is such an anemic clock, so even though this is coming in the kind of the wrong order, I am going to Inquisition here. Feels bad to not be holding up Barren Moor, but got Inquisition. Opponent kept a one-lander. What are we dealing with here? This is going to be a horrific matchup. I already don't want to play this one, I'm not going to lie. I just don't want to play this one. This is like a ramp value deck. Sounds miserable for a mid-range deck. So, anyway, we will try to get there regardless. I think we're supposed to try to kind of mono-screw them here, even if just for a little bit, by taking the Tribe Elder, but Archmage's Charm's a really good card against us. I'm going to take the Elder, though. They promptly draw an island, which makes everything perfect. They get the Search Land on 3, and then they get the Mystic Sanctuary after that. So Max punished, as usual against these decks. Oh, they have a second main Growth Spiral. They're going to opt for that, sure. That works too. That's another good way to get their lands out here. Wait a minute, Misty Rainforest. They drew that just now. Fair enough. I already hate this deck that we're against. Hate it. Moldai is a 2/2. Okay, so Bolt can kill her. So do we want to hold up Bolt and Skooz activation, or Bolt and Barren Moor? I think either way we're pretty clearly bolting Moldiah, so I guess it doesn't matter. I guess I'll do this because it doesn't bluff our Bolt as much. So if for some odd reason they just say go, then we get blown out. Not cycling our Barren Moor yet again, but we'll start growing the Skooz, I guess. The main reason these types of matchups tilt me... Oh, we can also compete over the Mystic Sanctuary trigger, I forgot to say that. That is a pretty important thing that we need to be representing as well. The reason these matchups tilt me is because I feel so punished for playing like a fair mid-range deck against them. It's like, yes, you can bury my deck in value, but what else can you do? Like, what do you do against Burn and Prowess, or against Neoform, or against who knows what else, right? Okay, they get rewarded with a land off the top. Pretty rough. They have Dryad of the Elysian Grove. Yeah, what does this deck do against combo, against Dredge? Right? Like, am I the only one thinking about... Am I the only one to whom that occurs? Alright, anyway. My rants aside, let's bolt this. Opponent's hand is Mystic Sanctuary, Cryptic Command, Archmage's Charm. It's all very good. I guess we just have to play the Liliana, who's, like, not that good. I mean, we don't have to, but we probably should. All three of the cards in their hand are gas, and our hand's pretty bad. Trying to decide whether playing the Barren Moor out is good or not. The upside is it's letting us get to Raging Ravine and just also to Bloodbraid Elf mana, so I think we're actually supposed to. But, of course, it would be nice to keep it around. But I guess with Liliana, we're just supposed to empty out the hand, even though they're going to blow her out with a Cryptic Command. What can you do? We can't do much about it. So we get one Mystic Sanctuary out. They can go fetch for another one right now if they want to. They decide not to. They have enough riches in hand. They do not need to. If at some point I kind of commentate a little bit less and just start, like, playing to get through this game, forgive me. It's been a long league, it's been a fun league, but I really hate decks like this. So... Alright, well, I guess we're going to pitch our Skooz here. I'm going to protect the Liliana. If I can. They're going to Archmage's Charm in response. Think I'm going to eat one creature and hold up one Skooz activation. Splitting the difference between my clock and my ability to disrupt a Archmage's Charm Mystic Sanctuary loop, which sounds like pure misery. Like, some people say, you know, they use the term degenerate to describe combo decks. It's very common, you know, like, combo's degenerate, you know, we don't want too much combo. To me, combo is far healthier than big mana, than ramp. Ramp is what's degenerate, if you ask me. Especially ramp with a lot of inevitability. But I'm just a guy with an opinion. I could be wrong. Are we suspicious for any reason that we might expect to get punished for activating Skooz? I don't think so, but then again, we're just not going to get there with only Skooz beat, so why don't we just untap? Alright. Raging Ravine number 2 is actually a pretty tempting reason to just, like, give up the ghost on this Liliana. and allow her to get blown out by the Cryptic Command, I think I'm going to. I think I'm going to try to just get over the line with Ravines and the Skoos this game. So in response to our +1, they're going to bounce her and probably draw a card. Unless they, like, have something, a different way to answer her, maybe they could bounce our Skoos then draw a card. But no, it's the more obvious outcome of this, scenario. This scenario that's got me a little tilted. Oh, they're a Valakut deck? That makes sense with Dryad. I think I'm just shoving now. I'm putting every point of damage across. But Archmage's Charm. I guess we have to leave one up. Man. Ooh, it's close, though. I'm close to just saying, I hope you have 3 lands in hand. Can you kill me? They have Uro, obviously. Why would they not have Uro in this deck? So if they sacrifice him first, then we could eat him before they receive priority. They don't. Yeah. You guys know my thoughts. You guys can tell what I'm thinking. This gameplay is no good. Would rather face combo any day of the week on any deck. It's not just because, like, BGX is better against combo than it is against these decks. On prowess, on any deck, don't care. The new style of printing, you can see my Anatomy of a Planeswalker video for my extended thoughts on this, why, like, the resource depletion-oriented cards like Liliana and Kroxa, even when they're really powerful, are far healthier gameplay than the resource generation over-the-top cards like Uro and Oko. We draw land. I concede, you outplayed us. You outplayed us. I'm not trying to throw shade at the opponent here, but, like, we just never had a chance in that game. It's going to be different post-side, though, because we're going to play Choke and Boil. That's what it comes down to with these decks. It's like, you know, this is the game we were playing? Well, time to play the I win buttons, right? We'll see what else, we'll see what balance we want to strike. So, Chokes and Boils are going to be the first cards that come in, but you could really see playing Ashiok, Spellbomb, Huntmaster seems respectable. Pillage seems actually okay. Brutality seems good. So we've got a million cards to bring in. I think we are just going to go probably cutting all 1-mana kill spells, even though Bolt seems fine. Let's just begin by planning to cut all bolts. Gonna cut like a Kolaghan's Command. We probably need to somehow cut from the top end, but like Bloodbraid Elf seems like one of our best cards against this deck. I want the Nihil Spellbomb. I don't know. I don't remember how many fetch lands they were playing. I'm going to play one Ashiok. I think Brutalities are pretty sweet here. Should we bother with Pillage, or should we just lean into the Chokes and Boils? Like, almost every land that we're going to see is going to be an island. So maybe Pillage is a little bit redundant. And most of our remaining cards are pretty good, but maybe Assassin's Trophy is a little bit bad here. So, do we want to make room for all 3 Pillages by cutting something else? Or yeah, I don't think we should play Huntmaster simply because we already have added 2 4-drops and had not cut any of the existing ones. So, 3 Pillage. What comes out? What is the worst card in our 60? We could cut 1 Tarmogoyf and go full disruption mode. I think instead I'm going to cut 1 Wrenn and Six, which seems like a good card in the matchup too. Or maybe we just play without any Maelstrom Pulses. I don't really know. I'm going to cut the Pulse. Whatever. It's close enough. I clearly don't know exactly what I should expect out of that deck. And I think it's going to be a matter of, can we curve out in a really good traditional way? Like where we have the combination of Clock and Disruption to beat them. I think that's still kind of realistic on the play. Or can we just press the I win button with Boils and Chokes? Those are kind of our two paths to victory. I think like which disruptive piece that may or may not be live, like Pulse versus K Command to leave in, I don't think there is a right answer without us knowing more about their deck. This is a really depressing keep, because if we had any kind of a fetch land, or even just a green land, I think it'd be a keep, but I guess we have to mull it. It doesn't really function. Alright, we got the Choke, and we got the Pillage. This'll be a keep. Do we want to keep Skoos or Goyf? Because we got to keep the 3 lands, we need to do our thing. I think I'm actually going to keep Skoos. Bottom the Goyf. Alright, this hand can really definitely get there on the play. Let's hope it does. I just saw like a lot of ramp, like a lot of dedicated ramp. I didn't really see permission until they got to the higher tiers. I'm sure they have it, but I'm not really going to live in fear of it. I got Blood Crypt there just on the bizarre off chance that they have some way to stop my fetching. I want to be able to pillage them. It obviously doesn't matter, right? But, okay. Okay, so we have to jam one card and hope it resolves this turn, and then next turn we get to Thoughtseize into the other one. I think we have to pillage this turn. Probably only worried about Spell Pierce or Force of Negation. And because of our Choke, I kind of want to pillage the Valakut, but that's probably incorrect. We're probably just supposed to attack their blue mana now to ensure that our Choke will resolve next turn. I imagine this deck plays Veil of Summer because why wouldn't they? So we could get our Thoughtseize Veiled next turn, that would really suck. But they couldn't Veil our Pillage there, and yeah, we'll still hopefully get to maybe choke them out. Is this going to be a Dryad? It is. So now they're going to be fully choked. Lead on the Thoughtseize. They have double Cryptic Command, another Dryad, and a Thragtusk. I kind of want to take the Dryad because it is the most easily castable, and we can also grow the Skoos. I don't really think it matters. I think we either choke them out and win relatively comfortably, or we don't, and it doesn't really matter what we took there. Well, that feels good. Collective Brutality, eh? Sure, I'll cast it while we can. I found a Sakura Tribe Elder, which is actually a pretty good find. Well, if nothing else, we got to choke out the big mana deck. Maybe we'll draw a Boil, and then we can, you know, deal with the Dryad. Alright, so we should grow the Skoos before we clear away their graveyard. Not gaining a life to do so, but that should not matter. We draw another Brutality. Alright. I'll cantrip here. We're kind of bricking. Not gonna lie. I'm pretty cool, though, just casting these Brutalities. Getting the Cryptics out while we can. Not that they're especially good anyway, but this is fine. Yeah, gotta draw a Boil before the game goes too much longer. Because once we kill the Dryad, of course, you know, or just keep, like, drawing value permanents. Like, we want to, by the time the Dryad goes by the wayside, we need to be very, very far ahead somehow. Whether it will be because we boiled all their lands, or, like, we have a bunch of Planeswalkers on the field. Gotta do something, right? Okay, there's a Planeswalker. Okay, there was a Search for Tomorrow in their hand. Fair enough. Should probably play a little quicker. I'm pretty tired here at the end of this league, and I don't have the most motivation to play this one out, but I'm obviously going to do it for you, and I'm happy we're choking them out. That makes me feel really good. We'll eat the Cryptic first. Then if they respond to our Search for Tomorrow somehow, I don't care. Bloodbraid Elf. Seems good. And Goyf seems fine. That's the concession. All right, hey, we choked him out. That felt great, guys. That felt great. Now, if they stumble a little bit, we can do the same thing on the draw. So, Choke and Boil plan confirmed. Pillage plan, I don't know if it's necessarily confirmed or not. It still seems fine, but is there like anything we're not as excited about on the draw? Honestly, I'm probably just going to run it back, but it's worth thinking about. Like, we're taking away a lot of good stuff. We're taking away all of our bolts. Some reasonable stuff like Huntmaster, K-Command, Ashiok, Trophy, Pulse, all reasonable in different ways against a deck like this. But, I mean, they do have Thragtusk in the deck. Should we be playing like a Maelstrom Pulse for cards like that? Or should we just plan to just choke them out before it matters? It is hard to say. It's hard to say, right? I think I'm going to play a Pulse over a Kolaghan's Command. And I think that's probably the only change I'm going to make Huntmaster is a value piece that can compete with their value pieces. But I think we're supposed to be like all in on disruption. So even though our card quality could be much higher, we're playing like a lot of 1-for-1s with all of our discard, our brutalities are only 1-for-1s and they're clunky. We just have to disrupt and then land an I win button. I think that's the way to win this one. We'll see, though. We'll see. We're taking a very bad matchup to Game 3 on the strength of our sideboard, probably more than anything else. Opponent mulligans, and we got the Pillage and the Boil and the Inquisition and the Bloodbraid Elf. Oh my god, it's a keep. It's a keep. For real, it's a keep. Our mana's pretty bad, though. We cannot cast Pillage yet. We're taking pain off our only green source, and that's not completely free, even if it's mostly free. But we are looking like we've got some stuff to like in the opener, for sure. And there we go, we drew an Overgrown Tomb. Still no Pillage live, but it does other things that we could not otherwise do. We're casting the Bloodbraid on curve, or the Boil for that matter. We'll just see. We'll just see what the situation calls for, right? But we Inquisition you. Only one taken, it's the Charm. So they have a Thragtusk and a couple lands. And they've got Search for Tomorrow. We're going to ramp them next turn. Tarmogoyf. A good draw. So I'd love to draw a red land for a Pillage, I guess. Try to pillage this Flooded Grove, maybe? And then go on the Boil plan? I mean, even if we can't do anything next turn, like we just say go, they're gonna play Thragtusk. Ooh, but we did draw the red land for Pillage, so let's go for the Pillage. But I almost kind of want to let them tap out for the Thragtusk, you know what I mean? But they could have permission in hand. I think we're supposed to just play the Pillage. And Flooded Grove is the right land to target here, even if we don't Boil. However, pillaging will not grow the Goyf, so let's attack first. There is already land, sorcery, and even instant is already in the yard in case they have permission, so nothing that could happen here by our casting Pillage would grow the Goyf. Alright, so that's a successful Pillage. And if they just say land go, we can still, like, have a really good sequence of Bloodbraid, and then we're holding up Boil, and we drew another Bloodbraid. Alright. Yeah, it's Bloodbraid time. We'll do it off of Peatland. I think our life total is free enough right in this spot to just get that one down. Into a Liliana seems pretty good. And that's exactly why we gave that a little thought. We'd rather be pitching the swamp than the peatland right now. They pitch the island. Yeah, I was going to say, they may just have kind of nothing in hand, but it looks like they have something. No? Okay. I guess they're tapping out for the Thragtusk, and I guess we get to have a decent Boil. I think they got basic. The fact that they got basic made me think they had some action, but I guess they're just playing around Choke. They don't know to play around Boil, though. Thragtusk comes down. We're gonna Boil you. See you later. I'm too tired to think about whether I should do this before or after anything else. I'm just gonna cast a Boil and it's gonna be great. then we're definitely edicting Thraggy to try to work through that. And I think we're just sending them both in. Yes, they can kill Lily on the crackback, but they've got bigger problems than that. And with another Bloodbraid in hand, I think we're supposed to just kill them. We're supposed to just kill them. We boiled them in Game 3. We choked them in Game 2. I was complaining so much about this matchup in Game 1. And look at what our sideboard did. Guys, boil and choke are the saviors of fair Magic in Modern. And make no mistake, I consider our deck fair. The ramp deck's not so much. Like, our deck is the good guy that does police the combo decks and does interact, like, across the spectrum. We try to keep everything in check. And sometimes we just cannot compete with the value of these ramp decks, but with the help of all kinds of all-stars like Pillage, Boil, Choke, Ashiok, we can really hate these decks out, guys. We lost barely to the Eldrazi Nemesis, and we come away with a 4-1. I think I'm just going to put all the hate cards on the thumbnail. I think we have to put Pillage, Boil, and Choke all on the thumbnail, and then something else with it. Who knows? Maybe just like a Raging Ravine or something. I don't know. We're gonna put the epic stuff on the thumbnail. I hope you guys liked it. I got a little bit tired near the end. I hope my commentary and play continued to be acceptable. I just have not played like in a short league ever in the last while. It's all been pretty intense, pretty long, grindy ones, but I think this one was well worth it. I really hope you enjoyed it. We continue our winning ways on the channel. It was another good result with Jund. Very close to a 5-0. Yeah, again, I think pretty unlucky to drop that Eldrazi Tron Game 3. However, that deck is a bad matchup. Even if we were unlucky in that spot, it's not like we were unlucky in a vacuum to lose to E-Tron, right? It's a matchup we kind of want to fade, kind of want to dodge it. Anyway, I couldn't really be happier besides the loss to the Eldrazi Menace with how this league went, just because we faced a wide variety of decks. We saw some like really commanding Jund them out performances, at least one against Yawgmoth. I felt like that was really like what our deck was meant to do. And then we saw some other performances where the opponent is trying to do some busted big mana stuff and some busted ramp, and we say, no, you get boiled, you get choked, we'll see you later. So anyway, this was a strange league, and I liked it. I hope you liked it too. Let us, once again, everybody, thank Remy Marchiat, tireless tier supporter, owner of 2, soon-to-be 4, epic future sight foil Tarmogoyfs in paper, and donor extraordinaire who has funded this wonderful league. And we also have to revisit our laundry list of new Patreon supporters. We've got Inquisitors, Joseph Carmicino, Alan Armenta, Bradley Edmister. We've got Lousy Tunes, The Unearthed, and we also have King Risey, Patrick Hoyle, and Kyle, Conduit of Snapcaster May should have been read, as our confidants. I want to thank each and every one of you so much. I can't remember if I mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but some other Patreon supporters have had to tone it way down or to drop Patreon altogether while we have so much economic uncertainty. Guys, please do always, of course, I shouldn't need to say this, but in case I do, put your family first, put your necessities and your needs first, but you know, I have a family too, I have necessities as well, and my expenses are pretty high. I'm fortunate enough that I'm able to keep working, but this is a genuine second job for me. My family does depend to some degree on the income, so for those of you who can continue to donate and to support, I cannot possibly tell you how much I appreciate that. It does mean a lot to me, so truly, thank you. Thank you once again to all Patreons, especially the 7 new ones I just listed, and especially Remy. So, as always, guys, you can let us know in the comments below. I and Remy will probably be communicating about the list and how it performed. We'll always be looking to make tweaks going forward, so if you have any thoughts on that, obviously you can let me know about lines and sideboarding and all the rest. You guys, you know the drill. Come on, you know the drill. You've been watching this channel, even for a little while. You know what's up. Yeah, not much more to say. We had the speculation that the lack of red could be a bit of an issue. We didn't encounter that. Thankfully, we were able to pillage on curve every time we needed to, as I recall. The peatlands were pretty good. We didn't really face decks that were too aggressive that they punished us for having the peatlands, and nor did the lack of red mana by turn 3 come up. So if you can fade those things, then yeah, playing the second peatland is awesome, and it did some work here today. But really, this was a matter of the sideboard cards stealing the show in the second half of the league, and I think in the first half of the league we were kind of getting there doing more or less normal Jund things, but certainly Boil really earning its place. I was a little skeptical of Boil. Not that I thought it was bad. Some things I'm skeptical of in that I'm like, I don't think those will Jund. This card, Boil, I was just like, I don't really know how to evaluate this. And I was reaching out to people like experiences for Boil. I heard more good feedback than bad. So very happy we got to put it to the test today. It more than earned its place, more than pulled its weight, that I can tell you. An epic Tempest printing of Boil, sending the ramp decks back where they came from. There you go, guys. I'll stop rambling. I'm hungry. I'm tired. I'm going to go get something to eat, hang out with my family. I hope you guys aren't going too crazy, too cabin fever stir crazy if you're cooped up with the virus. I hope you're all happy, healthy, and safe. I hope your finances are not taking too much of a hit, if any. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. All the very best to each of my viewers and my supporters. I don't know what we're going to do next on the channel. I think that clears my queue for donation leagues, but I am waiting to hear back from another couple people, maybe. So what are we going to do next? I don't know. Maybe I'll play the Abzan list that we 5-0'd with a little while back. I haven't played it since then. Maybe we need to revisit that. Anyway, that's about all. Thank you so much for watching. I will talk to you soon. Please subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I will see you around. See you for the next video. Hope everybody out there has a wonderful day.